Hi everyone, I'm Linda Reimer, one of the librarians at the Southeast Steuben County Library. Welcome to Library Connections, our short weekly readers and listeners advisory videocast. Enjoy. Library Connections number 120. This is the Friday, October 28th, 2022 edition of Library Connections. Jumping right in with the top 5 fiction bestsellers for this week from the New York Times. At number 1, It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. In the sequel to It Ends With Us, Lily deals with her jealous ex-husband as she reconnects with her first boyfriend. At number 2, The Boys from Biloxi by John Grisham. Two childhood friends follow in their father's footsteps, which puts them on opposite sides of the law. At number 3, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. A battered wife, raised in a violent home, attempts to halt the cycle of abuse. At number 4, Verity, also by Colleen Hoover, who is having an incredible year. There's even an article in the New York Times recently about this author and how well she's done, and hats off to her. But I digress. Getting back to the book Verity and what it's about. Loan Ashley is hired by the husband of an injured writer to complete her popular series, and she uncovers a horrifying truth. And at number 5, Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, a reimagining of Charles Dickens' David Copperfield set in the mountains of southern Appalachia. Moving on to the top 5 nonfiction bestsellers for this week. At number 1, Beyond the Wand by Tom Felton. The actor known for playing the villain Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies recounts his life on and off the set of the film series. At number 2, And There Was Light by John Meacham. The Pulitzer Prize-winning biographer portrays the life of Abraham Lincoln. At number 3, I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. And I still don't like that title, but I digress. The actress and filmmaker describes her eating disorders and difficult relationship with her mother. At number 4, The Extraordinary Life of an Ordinary Man by Paul Newman. And I have my feline assistant here helping me. Let's see, Piper, what should we tell them about the book? Perhaps what the New York Times says. Yes, the late movie star's memoir reveals intimate details about his personal relationships and professional rivalries. Compiled and edited by David Rosenthal. And at number 5, Madly, Deeply by Alan Rickman. The late stage and screen actor's diaries from 1993 to 2016, edited by Alan Taylor, and Piper really likes that book. Our first recommended read for this week is the new novel, The Old Place, by Bobby Finger. Long-buried secrets lurk everywhere in Billington, the small Texas town of this debut, from journalist and Who Weekly Celebrity podcast co-host Finger. Curmudgeonly protagonist Mary Alice, a widow, lost her only son when he was just 18. Both her husband's and her son's deaths occurred under bizarre circumstances. Her best friend Ellie lost a son too, just before Mary Alice's son passed. Finally retired from her position teaching math at the local high school, where she had become an institution, Mary Alice is irked by her replacement Josie. New York City transplant Josie's urbanity triggers something scornful inside Mary Alice, and this is when things really begin to unravel. The return of Mary Alice's estranged sister Catherine further sends Mary Alice's quaint routine into upheaval. The repercussions of spilled secrets and the appearance of town ghosts could mean the rewriting of history, something Mary Alice fears she is not built to survive. Cozy, enthralling, and driven by complex and endearing women, The Old Place explores the mysterious act of realizing the worst in oneself and pushing forward anyway. And that's the book list review. Our second recommended read for this week, in keeping with the fact that Halloween is Monday, this one is a horror novel, so definitely very spooky. It's called Leech by Hiran Inez. Emotionally complex, wildly inventive, and full of squirming terror, Inez's debut begins when the doctor assigned to Chateau de Vera dies under mysterious circumstances. The Interprovincial Medical Institute sends another of their own to replace him. Then the nameless protagonist arrives on a mission to discover how the previous doctor died, while harboring one of the biggest secrets in this post-apocalyptic world, that the Institute is not only a medical association, it's also a hive mind of parasites that have systemically taken over the minds and bodies of every human medical professional to fulfill a mandate to protect and care for the human race, who have proven incapable of doing so themselves. The death of the Chateau's previous doctor marks the first time the Institute's lost a body without remembering how. As the protagonist discovers, it's not only the parasite within the Chateau's walls, both the health of the Chateau's residents and the ironclad hold the Institute has on its hosts begins to crumble. Inez builds a post-apocalyptic world with an expansive history and innumerable creeping horrors hiding in its shadows. The author's greatest strength is in the narrative voice, rendering the Institute's hive mind with laser precision. This is a must-read for readers looking for something new from the horror genre. And that's the Starred Publishers Weekly Review. Our first audiobook recommendation for this week is also in keeping with the fact that it's the Halloween season. This is a classic, Agatha Christie's Halloween Party, read by Hugh Fraser. When a Halloween party turns deadly, it falls to Hercule Poirot to unmask a murderer in Agatha Christie's classic murder mystery, Halloween Party. At a Halloween party, Joyce, a hostile 13-year-old, boasts that she once witnessed a murder. When no one will believe her, she storms off home. But within hours, her body is found still in the house, drowned in an apple-bobbing tub. That night, Hercule Poirot is called in to find the evil presence. But first, he must establish whether he is looking for a murderer or a double murderer. Moving on to our second audiobook recommendation for this week, which is completely different from the first. And I do have to say here as a disclaimer, I was a history major, so I do love history. This one's called The Time Traveler's Guide to Restoration Britain by Ian Mortimer. The audio is read by Roger Clark. Imagine you could see the smiles of the people mentioned in 17th century diarist Samuel Pepys' diary. Hear the shouts of the market traders and touch their wares. How would you find your way around? Where would you stay? What would you wear? Where might you be suspected of witchcraft? And where would you be welcome? This is an up-close and personal look at Britain between the restoration of King Charles II in 1660 and the end of the century. The last witch is sentenced to death just 2 years before Isaac Newton's Principia Mathematica, the bedrock of modern science, is published. Religion still has a severe grip on society, and yet some, including the king, flout every moral convention they can find. There are great fires in London and Edinburgh, the plague disappears, and a global trading empire develops. Over these 4 dynamic decades, the last vestiges of medievalism are swept away and replaced by a tremendous cultural flowering. Why are half the people you meet under the age of 21? What is considered rude? And why is dueling so popular? Ian Mortimer delves into the nuances of daily life to paint a vibrant and detailed picture of society at the dawn of the modern world as only he can. So if you'd like to take a look at what daily life was like in Britain during the 17th century, check this one out. Moving on to our next section, next week at the library, offering a brief look at the events and activities hosted by the library on and off site for the week ahead of us. This time around, that's the week of October 31st through November 5th, 2022. And I don't know where October's gone, but it's almost out the door gone, so we'll look forward to seeing November arrive. And I'm digressing. Information about library programs and activities can also be found online. Just visit the library's website located at ssclibrary.org and click on the big bold calendar link you'll see located near the top of the page. Of course, you can also simply Google Southeast Steuben County Library. That too will work. And on a registration note, registration is required for programs unless otherwise specified, or unless the program is of the online and on-demand variety, in which case, please help yourself. You can register for programs through the library's website, by calling the library, or by just dropping by. On Monday, October 31st, there are no programs or activities at the library. Happy Halloween! Enjoy the Halloween festivities, and it's always a good time to read a good book, so you might do that too. Moving on to Tuesday, November 1st, we have a whole host of programs at the library. Kicking things off in the morning with Adult Scrabble from 9 to 11 a.m. Scrabble is held in the library's reading room. Then from 9:15 to 10:15 a.m. we have Coffee, Tea, and English Vocabulary, which is part of our series for adult learners of English. This program is hybrid, meaning it's held both at the library in person and via Zoom. You do have to register to get the Zoom link. Moving on to our next program, it's Story Time with Miss Sue from 10 to 10:30 a.m. This program is hosted by the library's children's librarian, Sue McConnell, and it will be held in the children's section on the second floor of the library building. Then from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m., we have Coffee, Tea, and English Conversation, also a hybrid program. And again, you need to register if you want to attend remotely so you can get the Zoom link. There's that dot I always forget. There it is. And in the afternoon on Tuesday, November 1st, we have 2 more programs to bring to your attention. The first is the showing of the film All the Lonely People from 2 to 4 p.m. The movie focuses on the issue of chronic loneliness, and this is a partnership program between the New York State Office of the Aging and the library. The movie will be held in the community room. And then from 3 to 4:30 p.m. we have Gatless, Gay at the Library After School. This program too is being held at the library. And it is a partnership program too. It's a partnership program between the library and Planned Parenthood of Greater New York. Carmen Greco will be your host for the program, and this program offers a safe and supportive space for youth to talk about gender, sexuality, and what's going on in their lives. It's open to anyone ages 11 through 18, which is grades 6 through 12, and the program is hosted by Carmen at the library every Tuesday from 3 to 4:30 p.m. On Wednesday, November 2nd, we have 4 programs at the library. The first is Miss Sue's Preschool Storytime, which runs from 10 to 10:30 a.m. and is being held in the children's section on the second floor of the library building. Then from 1 to 3 p.m., there's the weekly Mahjong, which is held in the library's reading room. And from 3 to 4:30 p.m., we have Atlas, which stands for At the Library After School. This is for youth, of course. You do not need to register, just show up. The Atlas program provides a relaxing environment to wind down after school, work on homework, play games, use library resources, and participate in guided makerspace projects. Then from 6 to 8 p.m., we have the weekly Corning Adult Writers Group, which is a hybrid program held both in person and via Zoom. You do have to register for that one. Moving on to Thursday, November 3rd, we've got one program at the library. It's the Coffee, Tea, and English Book Club from 10 to 11:30 a.m. This is a hybrid program being held both at the library in person and via Zoom. On Friday, November 4th, we have the debut of the monthly book review by Michelle Wells. This is, of course, the November book review. The location of the review is Michelle's writer's blog, which is found at storymusing.blogspot.com. Then from 1 to 1:30 p.m., approximately, we have a new edition of Library Connections, a weekly Reader's Advisory videocast, and that will make its debut on Facebook and the library's YouTube channel. And finally, from 4 to 6:30 p.m., it's the Teen Dungeons & Dragons. This program is being held at the library and is led by Dungeon Master Jason. You can come to one of these programs or all of them. Everyone's welcome. Suitable for ages 13 through 17. On Saturday, November 5th, we have a special program at the library in honor of the fact that November is National Novel Writing Month, and I'll see if I can't pronounce the abbreviation for that. It's NaNoWriMo. That's hard to say. Try saying that 10 times fast. But in honor of this, we are having a special program at the library. It's called Come Write In, and write being W-R-I-T-E. Join us for food, inspiration, writing sprints, prizes, and writing time. And you do not need to be participating in National Novel Writing Month to join us. Just be game to sit down and write. And you need to let us know if you're coming, because Michelle needs to know how much food to order, because snacks are a big part of this. This program is for adults and teens ages 16 plus, and you can alternately attend via Zoom, but it's more fun if you attend in person because you get the snacks. If you're Zooming, you get the conversation, which is fun too, but you'll have to provide your own snacks. So come right in from 1 to 3 p.m. on Saturday, November 5th. And briefly, here's the list of our library programs contacts. If you have any questions about library programs, let us know. And that's the program for this week. I'll be back next week with a new edition of Library Connections. Have a great weekend.